So question 4 is using correlation and regression. So it's that idea with bivariate data or scatter graphs. So we have a table of data here, which is the time that it takes people to get to work or get to the office. And we need to do a Pearson's correlation coefficient to find the R value of the data. So to do this, we're going to need a spreadsheet so that we can plot the data. So we have our value for X, and then we have our value for Y. And we can see here that it's labelled X and Y already in the question. So I'm just going to fill this data out. So that's the data filled out, and I need to find the Pearson's correlation coefficient R. So there's a few different ways that I can do this, but one of them would be going menu, statistics, stats calculations, and linear regression. And the first variable X is called X, the second variable I called Y, and we click OK. And the R value there is 0.9915. So we can see straight away what the R value is equal to. Now you can also do it through the bivariate or the two variable data. The reason that I chose this method is because I'm looking ahead and seeing that question B is asking us to find the regression line. And using that method, I've already got the regression line, so there's no extra work at all. So to three significant figures, this one is 0.992 as the R value. So part B is the regression line, and if I scroll up here, I can see that the regression line is in the form mx plus b, and I'm told what the m and the b value are. Now in this particular question, the variables are y and x. If they weren't, I would need to make sure that I change them to be the variables that the exam shows, okay? Otherwise you could lose marks there. So y is equal to m, which they tell me is 3.26 to three significant figures, x plus b, which is 6 so that's below, 6.17 to three significant figures. Now I'm actually going to make a note of this in pencil, 6.16878, because if I need to use this later, I want it to be more accurate so that I can make sure I've not lost any accuracy and I'm getting the wrong answer. And there we go, in question C, it actually asked me to use it. So it says estimate the travel time for a worker who travels 10.5 kilometers to work. So the distance, the X, is 10.5 kilometers to work. And we're wanting to find out how long it takes them, which is Y. So Y is equal to 3.25661. So this is where I'm using the more accurate one to make sure that I'm not losing anything in rounding. And again, with the B value or the C value. And then I can substitute that in, and I find that it's roughly equal to 40.363, which is therefore 40.4 minutes to three significant figures. And another worker travels 32 kilometers to work. We use the regression line to find the answer, and we find that it's 110. Comment on the reliability. So this is not going to be very reliable. We don't want to use this answer really. Okay, so not very reliable. And the reason for that is because we have extrapolated. Okay, the data that we've been given is between 0 and, or 1610 is the smallest value, up to about 16. And for the distance, it's kind of 0 all the way up to about 15. Okay, So if we're suddenly expected to use it for 32 kilometers, it's outside of our range of data, and we don't know what's going to happen to the trend line at that point. It might not even be linear, and therefore we can't really use it. So it's not very reliable, and the key word to use there is extrapolation, which means that I've estimated outside of my region. Okay, so 32 is a lot bigger than that 15.2, which is the next biggest one I've got. So in terms of the marks on this question, there are 2 marks for the correlation coefficient, and that's just for stating it and rounding it correctly. Okay, and then there's 1 mark for your line of regression. Okay, there is 2 marks for your estimation. So 1 is for correctly substituting it in, and you do need to show that, and then 1 is for your correct answer. So you can see here working is very important, and then for the last one, it's for saying that it's not reliable and giving a correct reason. If you just say not reliable, you won't get the mark. You have to also give the reason.